Thank you very much, Amber. We want to welcome to our newscast, back to our news, Councilman Charles Djou, who's also a Republican running in the special election for the 1st Congressional seat. And Councilman, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Good morning.
Really appreciate it. I think the first question we have to ask you is that you must be happy with the poll numbers right now, basically showing a three-way tie, and some of them actually show you a couple percentage points ahead.
Well, you know, Dan, while I'm certainly very excited by the fact that my campaign is doing very, very well, and these polls, I think, are a very good reflection of how well we're doing and how hard we are working. Ultimately, the only poll that really counts is the one conducted by the voters on Election Day. And as a quick reminder, I want to remind all of your viewers that today is the deadline to register to vote. So if you want to participate in this upcoming and exciting special election for the United States Congress, make sure you register to vote by today.
And we've been reminding our viewers of that all morning long. Now, one vote you didn't get was from the Honolulu Advertiser. And I write there, this is a quote from the Advertiser. It says, Charles Djou represents the future of the Republican Party here in Hawaii. But it goes on to say that he needs to show that he is as much a problem solver as he is a problem finder. Your reaction to that?
Well, again, Dan, a couple of things here. The first off is that while the Honolulu Advertiser, it's nice to get an endorsement from them, just as it is perhaps nice to be the leading candidate in the polls. Again, it comes back to that the one people who are, or the one entity that's going to decide this election are the voters of Hawaii, not the editors, not the polls.
But you do have a bit of a reputation as being a kind of a problem finder, the person who goes out and starts saying, hey, here's this. Even a reputation to jump on to like easy targets. Rod Tam comes to mind. What's your response to that? Just the problem finder part.
Yeah. You know, Dan, I do recognize that I have built a reputation of somebody who says no to corruption, to tax increases, and to wasteful government spending. But the reality here is I've been one of the most effective members of the Honolulu City Council. Indeed, if you look at my record in the last 4 years, I have passed more bills out of the Honolulu City Council than any other member of the Honolulu City Council. And I've been a very vigorous advocate.
Bills that you introduced?
Yes, bills that I've introduced. And I want to add here that I have real achievements here, like getting curbside recycling into our community, like fighting for ethics reform. Dan, you mentioned about Rod Tam. I think that's a perfect example of what I believe in, an open, honest, transparent government.
Let's ask about the stimulus package now. It's something that you say was passed by of course, the House of Representatives and the United States Senate earlier this year. And you're saying that something that you would have voted against because what has it done for Hawaii? Well, according to many media organizations and also our own governor, they've used the stimulus money to help keep teacher jobs. Our own city has helped fund positions for our police departments. It's on its way to funding many construction projects here in Hawaii. A lot of people say it is having an impact, at least here in this state. Do you still stand by your position that you would not have voted for that economic stimulus plan?
Yes, Dan. And two quick points here I want to make regarding the stimulus package. The first is that you should judge the stimulus package by which the majority Democrats in the United States Congress wanted the stimulus package to be judged by. It was originally proposed to the American people as a means of preventing the national unemployment rate from ever going above 8.5%. And today, when you look at our national unemployment rate approaching 10%, clearly by the standards laid out by the majority Democrats in Congress, it is a program that has not worked. But even more important than that, I think the best way Hawaii voters should judge the stimulus package is to ask themselves personally, have you personally benefited from the stimulus package? This was $860 billion of taxpayer money. It works out to about $12,000 per family. Every family here in the state should ask themselves, have you gotten your $12,000?
Fiscal responsibility is something that you've been key on. That is something that that's something you've stressed in your campaign. Let's talk to you about a local issue here in Hawaii that doesn't necessarily deal with your federal office that you're running for, or even city council, but that is the furlough situation in public schools right now. Do you agree with Governor Linda Lingle's stance as far as not approving a plan because she says it costs too much, and that's keeping the kids out of our schools? What is your position on this, on the governor's stance, and what do you think should be done?
You know, Dan, this is something that I personally understand. I recognize here that the most important job that I have in my life is not councilman or army officer or professor, it's husband and dad. And I understand personally that our children need to be in school. Now, when we look at the furlough situation here in Hawaii, I recognize here that the keiki need to be in school. The best way to do it is get the teachers in school. And I think the governor laid out a good plan. We have a plan in effect right now that will put all the teachers back in school. What is in dispute is not getting the teachers back in the classrooms and the children in school every day. What is in dispute is the non-instructors, the clerical, the administration staff. And unfortunately, because the unions are sticking together and not willing to compromise, I think we have a terrible situation. So, Dan, yes, I am in agreement with the governor's position. Yes, we need to get the children in school, but we have to be fiscally prudent about it. And yes, we need to find
Why can't you be fiscally prudent about everything else and say, okay, you know, in this case, we have to just get these kids in school. We have to take care of this situation. I mean, why hold the kids hostage over something regarding contracts and unions and stuff like that? That seems to be, you know, a parent with public school kids myself. I mean, this is something that has to be taken care of. Shouldn't there at some point, when is enough enough, and you should just say, okay, let's just take care of what has to be done?
Yeah, Daniel, I'd love to take that position. I think there's any politician out there would love to be able to say, yes, let's spend as much money as we can. But the problem is that money doesn't grow on trees, and the people of Hawaii do not have unlimited financial resources. So with schools, yes, absolutely, get the children back in, get the teachers back in, but when it comes to the non-instructional staff, does that mean we should continue to also fund it to absolutely no end with no consideration whatsoever about the fiscal consequences? No, I think that's fiscally irresponsible. And that's what's going on in Congress, that they're saying that the universal answer to every single one of our nation's problems is throw money at it.
And I'm afraid I have to cut you off there. I'm very sorry. Congressional candidate Charles Djou, he's also a councilman in the Honolulu City Council. Sir, thanks so much for
No, my pleasure for having me.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Let's do this again.
Best of luck to you in the election. And once again, we had his opponents on earlier this week, Senate President Colleen Hanabusa and former Congressman Ed Case. And you can see all those interviews on our website, the KITV4's morning mini site right there at KITV.